Hi, everybody. Welcome to my homestead and welcome to my channel. I was just having some thoughts today about, President Nelson and the general authorities. And as we get closer to the second coming, I want to do kind of like a thought experiment with you. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you end up liking it, hit the notification bell. Share this video with anyone that you think might benefit from it. And let's get started. So I've kind of brought this up before on the channel, but I want to kind of devote this video just to this one thought. And the thought is, okay, if you were President Nelson and you knew that the second coming is happening at a particular time, let's say that it's going to happen in 2024 when the Salt Lake Temple is renovated, when that's complete, what is it going to look like to us as members of the church? And what is it going to look like from their point of view? Like, what are they going to be trying to do with the church in trying to get it prepared for the second coming? Now, before we get into that, I know some are going to be like, well, we can't know the day or the hour. And actually, I would dispute that with two different things, just to make sure we're in the right frame of mind. First of all, I did a video about this, how there was that talk this last conference, October 2021, by Christoffel Golden Jr., and he's a member of the 70. And as part of his footnotes, he included Joseph Smith's translation for, I can't remember that, is it Amos 3:7, where the way that it reads in the King James Version is, and I'm paraphrasing, but surely the Lord will do nothing but he reveal his secret to the prophets. But Elder Golden's talk was about the second coming specifically. And he said a lot of stuff in that talk. And in the footnotes, he put the Joseph Smith translation for that scripture. And there's one word that's changed. The word that's changed is but. Joseph Smith, the Joseph Smith translation says until. So in other words, the Lord isn't going to do anything until he reveals his secret to the prophets. So in the context of his talk, talking about the second coming, it would seem that he's trying to let us know that the prophet knows when it's going to happen. There was also another quote that was given to me by Joseph Smith, and this was from a subscriber, but she actually had the source. And I'll have to see if I can find that and put that in the description below. I'll do that. I'll make sure to find that, put that in the description below. But he basically made the comment that at the time that Christ was on the earth and that scripture came out, that no man know the time or the hour, the day or the hour, that was intended for that audience, not for the last days. Okay. So anyway, let's just move on. So let's go with the assumption that President Nelson does know the day and the hour, and that the second coming and the events that lead up to the second coming, including things like Adam-on-Diamond, are going to be revealed to him first. So if you're President Nelson, and it just so happens that you are the one that's going to be in attendance at Adam-on-Diamond and also the official second coming to the world, what kind of things are going to be on your mind, and what are you going to want to do to prepare the church? Okay. Well, spoilers for the rest of the video. I think that he would be doing exactly what he's doing right now. And there's kind of like three main things, okay? And it kind of goes along with the threefold mission of the church, right? Proclaim the gospel, perfect the saints, redeem the dead, but kind of like in a different way. So he talks a lot about gathering scattered Israel, right? So if you know that, the second coming, or one of the main events of the second coming, is going to happen in 2024, you're probably going to want to gather in as many people as possible before that, because well, for one thing, what do we know is going to happen with the second coming? The wicked are going to be destroyed. They're going to be burned, right? So, and also, so for those that still have a chance to change, it's going to be important to get them to change before then. But also for scattered Israel, he's talking about scattered Israel, those that have Israelite blood, those that in the pre-existence probably well, certainly were among the more faithful out there, um, he's going to want to find as many of them as possible to get them ready for the second coming so that they can participate in it in its fullest, right? So he's really concerned with finding as much of Israel that's alive in this mortal life as possible before the second coming. And then also there's been a lot of talk of going to the temple, like making sure that you get your ordinances done, right? Making those covenants and then going through those ordinances. So there has been, I don't need to tell you, there's been a lot of talk from this prophet about gathering scattered Israel, right? And so that's one thing. The other thing is temple work. There's been a lot of talk about doing temple work. I think more so than in times past. And if you look at President Nelson, okay, he now holds the record for the number of temples announced by one prophet. Before that, it was Gordon B. Hinckley. He had 73. Now we have President Nelson, and he has 83. And it was in a shorter amount of time. Now, why do you think that is? Because, I'm no expert, but the church hasn't really grown that much, I don't think, to merit that number of temples necessarily. In fact, I think church growth has actually been slowing down if you look at the numbers. So one thought that I've had is that if you're a prophet of the church, so you're concerned about gathering in scattered Israel, those who have not yet made their covenants and need to be brought into the fold. But you're also thinking about the dead, okay? Because the prophet is in charge of the work for the dead, right? He directs that. He has the sealing power, and the sealing power has been given to temple workers and so forth. So the responsibility lays on his shoulders to get as much temple work done as possible before the second coming and before the resurrection. Now, in the last video that I did, number 11 of 31 of the Sister Wendy Nelson Challenge, he was talking a lot about the resurrection, a lot about it. And it makes sense if you think about it. If you're the prophet and this is your responsibility, those people that are waiting to be resurrected, they have to have their work done first. They have to have their work done first. Because think about it like this. If you were righteous, and then let's say that you got resurrected, but without your work being done. Well, that wouldn't work because you can't, the time for you to do that work is either during your mortal life or to have somebody do it for you in the spirit world. You can't do it once you're resurrected. It has to be done either by yourself during your mortal life, or it has to be done for you by proxy work while you're in the spirit world. So basically, this is my understanding, okay? And I think it makes a lot of sense. So basically, there are a lot of people that are going to be limited and not going to be able to participate in that first resurrection because their work's not done, right? So I would think that as prophet, you would be like, oh, okay, we need to get everyone to the temple as much as possible because I don't want to have to answer to the Lord for all these people that are sitting here waiting. They could have been, resurrected in 2024, but here we are 10 years later and they're still waiting, right? So it kind of makes sense to me that so many temples would have been announced, especially by this prophet who seems to be keenly focused on the second coming. I would also add to that, I think that we're seeing a trend in the world that people are starting to distance themselves from Christianity. And there's probably a lot of churches, I think, that will probably ultimately fail at some point. And I've had the feeling that some of these changes that are going on in the church have been made to accommodate people that are going to find themselves without a church within several years to a decade, 20 years, who knows. But, we've made our stand as a church. We're not going away. We're not going to dissolve like maybe some other churches are going to. In fact, we may become the only true Christian church around, when things get that bad. So I don't know if President Nelson is only concerned about these people that need to be resurrected, that need to have their work done in the lead up to the resurrection, but he also may be anticipating, the fall of some of these other churches and people that have nowhere else to go but us. I've heard a lot of different things, like here in Wichita. I'm in the Wichita state, and there was a general authority that talked about how the point's gonna come pretty soon. And I think they said within President Nelson's lifetime. So keep in mind that he's 97. We don't know how long he's going to live, but this general authority, I think it was a 70, said that all the wards here that are currently in the Wichita stake, they themselves are going to become stake centers for their own stakes. I've heard similar things when I was in the Spain Barcelona mission, that the day would come when we would be baptizing, in terms of numbers, we'd be baptizing just by the stake, like stakes of people, right? Just recently, with the special UK visit that President Holland, Elder Holland, Elder Cook, and Elder Ballard made to the UK, Elder Holland, he talked about how the brightest days for the UK are ahead of us, not behind us, insinuating that there's going to be a lot of growth. He also said that we'd be foolish to think that there isn't more Israelite blood in the British Isles to be gleaned in the days ahead. So I think that the church is anticipating growth. But anyway, so we've talked about gathering Israel. That's been a big focus. We've also talked about doing temple work for people to be able to be resurrected, I believe. And then the third thing is us that are alive right now on earth, that are already part of the church. There's been a lot of talk about becoming a Zion people and avoiding contention and being inclusive. And I kind of cringe whenever I hear that word, because it's become kind of like a political word. But I don't think it's a political word in the way that the church is using it. They really mean make sure that everyone's being included, no one's being left out, and then we're becoming one. We're becoming Zion. Again, Zion is the pure in heart. It is the one in heart and the one in mind. So we can't have all these divisions. And so if you look at it from President Nelson's perspective, if you were the prophet, you'd probably be pretty concerned about the state of the church with all the divisions that there are, all the fighting over COVID, all the fighting over politics, all the fighting over social issues. If you know that the second coming or Anamonayama is going to happen in 2024, you're probably going to be like, okay, guys, stop it. Stop it. We need to become one. Christ is coming in 4 years. Put all those things aside and let's become one, because if we're not one, then we're not his. So I think when you look at our general authorities, the way that they're talking, and by the way, if you're a general authority that you know what's happening, it's probably going to be kind of hard for you to not say things or not want to like hint at things. And I get the sense that a lot of them are hinting at things, sometimes more obviously, sometimes less obviously. But I feel like when you do that thought experiment, if you put yourself in the place of the prophet and what you would do in the years or year leading up to the second coming, I would expect that you'd probably see exactly what's happening right now, focusing on building Zion in terms of all of us need to come together and be of one heart and one mind, getting as many people qualified to be resurrected as soon as Michael blows the horn. In DNC, it says that Michael will blow the horn, and that's when the resurrection will happen, and that's when we that are alive on the earth will be changed, or I guess translated. And then you're going to want to go out and find everybody that needs to be invited to this the marriage feast, right? There's a parable about that, how you go out and you find anyone who's willing to attend and to celebrate this marriage that's going to happen between Christ and his church. So this is the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and ever since the beginning, it has been focused on the second coming, but I don't think it's been as focused and as pointed and is as on the nose as it is right now with President Nelson. When you just look at all the changes that have happened in the church that seem to make it easier for people to come to us, people that wouldn't be used to go into 3-hour services, right? People that may be more comfortable with terms like ministering rather than home teaching and visiting teaching. Of course, again, it's been pointed out that the word ministering, that could be in association with like the ministering of angels in a higher, holier way. So there might be a couple things to that, but I feel like a lot of the changes in the church have been made to make it easier for others to join the church and feel comfortable and welcome here, not such an alien experience to them. I think our leaders are anticipating many coming into the church, and just, yeah. So that's what's been on my mind. Just that I think that we are getting really close, and I think that you can tell that simply by doing that thought experiment and just seeing what they're doing, what they're saying, how the church is changing. I think that we're there. I don't know how close. I would think probably within the next 5 years. I think that 2024 is an important year. That's going to be the year where we have that second eclipse, the Great American Eclipse, Part 2. That's going to be the year that the Salt Lake Temple is finished being renovated. But I don't know. But I think the prophet knows. At least Elder Golden seems to think that the prophet knows. And I'm sure, our general authorities, at least at the very least, the apostles probably also know. So I'll just leave it there. If you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe, like this video. If you liked it, hit the notification bell. Leave your comments. Let me know what you think. And if you have any additional thoughts about this, anything that I missed, and then make sure to share this video so that the channel can get some more exposure and so we can grow a little bit. Just share it with anyone that you think might appreciate this. And I'll talk to you guys later.